Hey, what's up guys? It's Gus, back with another gameplay commentary. Gameplay is from Halo 4, 23 kill gameplay. And I want to actually highlight that. 23 kills, I know not the best score, but for me, guys, you know I suck. So 23 kills for me is pretty damn good. Ever since they implemented this new system, this ranking system, man, I've been pretty much for the most part getting my ass kicked. I think the best game I had sometime earlier this week. I think I had around 18 kills, something like that. So it was actually a pretty good game, and that's kind of the way I figure it's going to go from here on out. Is, you know, I have my good games, my bad games, but it'll kind of all even itself out. But the competition has just been a lot more intense and competitive than it was before, so we'll see if I can bring you those good gameplays. I might need to fucking start playing Capture the Flag or some shit like that. I'm a beast at Capture the Flag too. I'm fucking running those flags to the fucking base like fucking Morgan Freeman in Glory. I don't give a shit. But anyway, what I want to talk about today is I kind of want to do a little NBA conversation here. I want to talk about the playoffs, see where all the teams are going, so on and so forth. So let's get started. Let's talk about my team, the Lakers. They got their asses kicked. I know other way to put it. I mean, I don't want to take too much away from San Antonio because, you know what, they did what they had to do. But the Lakers were injured. You're not going to get very far in this league when your main star is out. And we'll talk more about stars being out later, but with Kobe Bryant being out, Steve Nash being out, or not at 100%, you're just not going to get very far, and San Antonio did what they had to do. They beat the Lakers down, put them away. And that's what teams like San Antonio, what they do. And that's what you have to do. And that's what I think is going to help San Antonio. I'm not convinced that they can beat the Heat, but based on their performance against the Lakers, I think they're kind of ready to go to another NBA Finals. So anyway, I don't want to get too negative. I'm going to save the whole, focused on Laker basketball, that kind of commentary for, I don't know, maybe a week or two. I'll give you an update on what I think they need to do, what changes need to happen if they're going to get better next year. But let's stick to the playoffs. So, Lakers got their ass kicked. They're done. Thunder and Rockets. Now, speaking of injuries, Westbrook is out, and we're seeing what kind of difference that makes. I mean, I think they get swept if Russell Westbrook is still in there. He got injured, and that's changing the whole complexion of the series. I mean, the Thunder lose tonight, and all of a sudden you put pressure on that team, pressure that we'll see if they can handle. I think they can handle it because they've been deep into the playoffs for the last few years, but we'll see. I mean, you lose a star on your team, and all of a sudden things kind of get tightened up. You don't have that, room to relax that you were used to having. So we'll see what happens with that series, but that's turning into a way better series than I thought. I thought that Thunder would beat them 4-1. But now it's 4-2, on the verge of being tied. So, Grizzlies Clippers. I had originally thought that the Clippers would take care of them 4-2, but the Grizzlies are actually up. I'm very happy about that. I'm happy to be wrong about that because I do not like the Clippers. Not a Clipper fan. They've got a lot of depth, but this right here is like pretty much. This is like the Phoenix Suns back in the day. The Phoenix Suns were fun to watch. They pushed the ball. They shot a lot of jump shots. There were a lot of dunks from Amari Stoudemire. And that's kind of what I think this whole Clipper team is about. They're about highlights and dunks. But when it comes to playoff basketball, I just don't think they're ever going to be good enough. They're not going to be good enough. And I don't expect them to win this series being down now. And if they do, I think they'll get beat in the next round. They're just not good enough, and all this high fly act, it's cute for the regular season, but it's not going to be good enough in the playoffs. It just isn't. So I mean, all you Clipper fans out there that were happy that the Lakers got their ass kicked, so on and so forth, you know what? You won the championship of LA, but that's all you're going to win because the Clippers are done. Nuggets Warriors, that series wrapped up last night. Good game. And on a little side note, that's one thing that is kind of cool about the Lakers getting their ass kicked and finally beat is that now I can relax and enjoy the playoffs. Before I would be all stressed out about the Lakers' next game and who they would win. Now it's like, I don't worry about that. I just watch basketball. It's cool. I enjoy the games and it's exciting. So I did watch the Nuggets Warriors game, and they were going at it. That series has been great. I'm glad the Warriors wrapped it up. Now, I'm not a fan of any other team. I just want to make that clear. I'm not a bandwagon fan, but I don't really like the Nuggets. I don't know if it's George Karl or what, but I'm glad they got their butts kicked. Warriors are moving on. We'll see if they can continue to win, but I doubt it. What you saw the last 3 minutes of that game, them losing their composure, all the turnovers, losing an 18-point lead, that is typical of a young team with no experience. Now, eventually they might get to that point where they're going to be like your Oklahoma City Thunder. You know, where they've got young, good players that are going to go deep into the playoffs. But right now, you can see the inexperience in that team. They should have won that game easily, but they didn't because of inexperience. So we'll see what happens further along the line. But they almost blew it yesterday, and if they did, it would have been over. Bulls Nets. I had the Bulls coming out on top last week for my prediction, 4-3. They should have wrapped it up last night. I mean, let's make one thing clear, is that they basically blew that game. But you know what? Again, they've had injuries on that team. Guys are hurting. Derrick Rose is not stepping up for his team, which is really sad. I heard that he might come back for the second round, but that's just a joke. I mean, how the hell is he going to... I mean, what, are they going to be worthy of his appearance in the second round because, okay, now they're deep into the playoffs? I mean, I don't know. My whole opinion of Derrick Rose has gone downhill. They could have used him yesterday. I don't know. I don't know how that team can kind of stand him and not talk shit, but whatever. We'll see what happens to the Bulls, but they might have blown their chance. They're a great team. They fight. They have a lot of fight in them, but they just don't have the weapons, you know, and with their health being bad, who knows what's going to happen. But the Nets, they suck. If they do make it to the next round, they'll lose in the next round. Heat Bucks, not much to say here. Bucks aren't a good team. Heat destroyed them. Case closed. Hawks Pacers. What is that? 3-2? I don't think the Pacers closed it out. But I expect them to close it out next game or in the 7th game. Not much really to report there. The Hawks just aren't a good team. That's it. Now, closing up with Knicks Celtics. I'm really glad that the Celtics are winning some games. They're showing the pride that I was kind of hoping that the Lakers would show by not going down easily. They're an older team. They have a lot of injuries. They're hurting just like the Lakers were, but they're doing what they have to do to be competitive. So I'm going to give it up for the Celtics. Good job. And I just don't like the Knicks. I think their attitude is bad. You have J.R. Smith, running his mouth. The dude's got no class, and that's the problem, is that he is one of the main guys on the Knicks. And whenever you have idiots like that on your team, where you're going to rely on them, you're not going to get very far. So they might beat an old Boston team, but that's another team I don't expect to do anything. All this trash talking and jump shooting, all this other garbage, I don't think it's going to get them anywhere. All this immaturity, wearing black like if you're dressing for the Celtics funeral. I mean, show some respect. You're nobody. They've done nothing for years. And just because they got hot recently, they think they have the right to disrespect teams like that. That's showing no class. And whenever you have guys like that on a team, you know what? I'm going to root against them, and I hope that they lose. And I'm going to be laughing my ass off when they do lose, and they end up looking like a bunch of idiots. So I still expect the Knicks to win. Boston, they're just an older team. They don't have the weapons they once had. But the Knicks are a gimmick. They're not going to do anything in the finals if they even get there. I expect them to lose either the next round or against the Heat. And that'll be the end of them. So anyway, wrapping up this video, I'm GusCunnilin, and I'm out.